Good afternoon, family. Sitting here trying to do a quick video. I had been up earlier on my Facebook page and I've been trying to post a couple videos. Me and my wife, we still battling up against Amy Wyrick's criminal enterprise. She continues to stalk at this hotel we're forced to be in. We've been in here now since my wife moved in here when she kidnapped me Labor Day of 2024. My wife moved in here. When I got out, I've been in here ever since then. But Miss Wyrick was somehow able to maintain our identities there at 1922 Elvis Presley Boulevard and been, I'm sure, getting all kind of unemployment insurance and all that routed through there while she got these Indian people working with those Indian people, and these people got these people discriminating on me and baby. Then harassed us every step of the way. Every time we look up, black people all around us, right in these hotels all of a sudden. When we first came to this city, we met these people. They were, this lady was sick on us. Amy Wyrick, at all the cities you go in, Amy Wyrick, them, along with Regis Salon's Empire Education Group, they have all the inroads at the homeless places because they still in people's lives every city you go in. Of course, you know the criminals. We seeing this ICE, and we see ICE is having a terrible time there in Minnesota. I'm all over the place. Y'all bear with me. I'm dealing with domestic terrorism and the cyber gang stalking that me and my wife continue to have to endure at the hand of a public official. But I believe this is coming to a close. But to have to deal with it anymore with all the irons that I've placed in the fire, it's disheartening. I'm okay. I'm nowhere despondent. I'm okay. It's been a big snow that has pretty much crippled certain parts of America. And it's been an economic downfall since COVID-19. So money is an issue for all of us. But the billionaires, and they seem to be always fiendishly at money. And, oftentimes at the peril of others not having it. Like Miss Wyrick, them been stealing me and my wife's life for all this time. My life, since 1994, she had been able to steal $5 million that I had sued for. And she come to find out Miss Wyrick is a master at when the mail comes to you, if your body is in jail or if not in jail. She controlled the mail people there down on 3rd Street. Many years ago, me and my baby had to go in there. At first, it was cool. But when Miss Wyrick and them saw that we were trying to maintain or some kind of way access our real lives, they've been making moves on that because I didn't know it unbeknownst to me. I'm a multimillionaire on paper, but all these years I've been walking around a pauper. And when I just recently Miss Wyrick had me kidnapped 8/22/2025. And when they brought me in there, she had me isolated. In retrospect, she was trying to make like I was some kind of way mentally ill because I bold enough to call her on her shit. Miss Wyrick is, been involved into a lot of stuff. Y'all know her for overt racism. But just think about a person like that and see they got a covert life. We know her of Miss Amora still walking me in out the back of the penitentiary today. Based on Miss Wyrick's treachery. Placed them in there. Still walking them out today. Where the woman on this last murder case as I'm studying over into Tennessee, this last murder case, when they got the fellow, he was mentally challenged again. Just like the guy who was on death row. Well, it was somebody who had confessed to this murder. But Miss Wyrick and those racist judges, Daley, Axley, Beasley, Kraft. For some reason the Klan take great pride in destroying men, women, and children of color. That's kind of like, I ain't gonna go into that. At any rate, that's treachery at a high level. So this is what the people of color have been up against. I won't make it a race thing. because evil dwells in all of us. But some of us, we continue to work on, we doing self-exorcisms on ourselves, if you will. Because we understand the seriousness of the hour and we respect the spirit realm. We know we're asleep to the spirit realm. That's how we're still in the game now. We were able to recognize when they was trying to put the demons on us. Both physical and unseen. And by the grace of God, I've been able to walk with the angels of good. So I was up tonight again. I was trying to do Facebook videos. Miss Wire been blocking it. She terrible, man. Come through the TV. She blocks us through the TV. We were getting a channel 3. Well, for months we didn't have a Wi-Fi at all. After they kidnapped me this time, ironically, the day that my body walked into this room, they had a guy out of Memphis, and he was allegedly the Indian lady here, he was allegedly her brother, and he was all up in the roof. I got pictures. I hadn't sent them to anybody. At any rate, he was all up in the roof running wires and doing shit. But the cameras upgraded here where I'm at. They basically didn't have no cameras, and the cameras that they did have, they weren't pointing them my way. They've been working with Amy Wyrick tooth and nail. Miss Wyrick was able to, of course, when somebody steals your identity, you think you're getting some mail. It's Miss Wyrick now. Miss Wyrick got lawyers. Her and her husband, they're lawyers. I told you her husband was there at the hub. Me and my wife was kind of funneled into the hub one time. And I'm wondering why they were separating. They've been always trying to separate me and my wife. So they're going to separate us, but they got two Africans that come right in together. They gave the Africans our identity, because when I came after Lieutenant Kelly was there on that balcony in Phoenix, Arizona, reaching at his gun at me with the murder suspect September 7th of 2018, I was there in the Economics Crime Division in Memphis September 11th because we had to flee. Once I realized who this was, the next morning I seen his face in my dream. When I woke up at 2, 3 in the morning, 1 in the morning, and the little voice showed me his face again. It showed me his face the 2 or 3, 4 other times he had been sent to harm me. And I woke up and told baby, we out of here. So we shot back to Memphis. Unbeknownst to me, as Amy Wyrick is the one pursuing me, the sitting district attorney. I never would have dreamed of treachery like this. I've studied the occult. I've studied Satanism itself, diabolism, these things. I was up all night a lot of times there in Atlanta. There in San Diego, California, when she gang stalked us out of our home in 2008. I'm up all night. I was in the libraries going across the country because I knew that what I had in me wasn't sufficient for me to resist evil, for lack of a better word. And I know evil was present. My mother didn't forewarn me. She didn't never sit me down one time, and my mother loved me with a passion, and she never sit me down and said, baby, it's a concept called evil in the world, and it's present, and you need to be on guard of it. Because if she had said those words, just those few words right there, I would have been on guard for it more so than I was, and I would have been less open to a lot of negative experiences that I could have avoided. But I'm not crying over spilled milk. It must have been meant to build me up. She often said this to me. She said, baby, anything that don't make you say it's going to either make you bitter or make you better. Said, it's your choice which one you going to choose. So I'm not bitter tonight. My wife, and she has a right to be. And we've been patient long enough, really. I've been patient over 30 years. I was scored in 1993 while I slept in a Miss Wild. I hadn't been on them. I fucked up bad down there at UAPB by I think they've been talking to me from Memphis, Miss Wild. Matter of fact, I know they have. So I had been over on the campus and I hadn't got into a little trouble. I hadn't got caught one night. I was down by this club and they hadn't walked up and I had a blunt in my mouth. And it was the police. I didn't know it. At any rate, I was told to go down to the jail and come down there, and they were trying to. They always give you the option to take us and buy some more weed now and we'll let you go. So, you know, I ain't gonna do that shit. So I told them, yeah, okay, I'll be down there. And I never did come. So they showed up. It was fall. I think that was spring semester that I showed up at UAPB in 1990, January. So at the end of that semester, we were all finna get ready to leave, and the police was down over there at the guards shack looking for me, telling me to come over there. Coach Cooley and them then already worked it out where I wasn't gonna get in no trouble or nothing, but they had to put a warrant out for me on that blunt I had. So again, I went to college as a promising student athlete. Unbeknownst to me, this Bill Gibbons' district attorney office has called into every job I got from the time that I was 18. He started calling into my jobs. He and him and his subordinates, his lackeys, they started really when I was about 17. Because I was working for a round the corner restaurant. It was at Laurelwood Shopping Center. Right there across from that's a Dillard's, I think, right there now. At any rate, it was round the corner restaurant, and I worked in there as a busboy, washed the dishes, and I made good money in there. You know, my mama was poor, I have to work. So I was going to Northside too at the same time. So I looked up, Miss Wild and them was trying to get me fired because they had to stab Billy Russell. My brother had to stab Billy Russell. And I was the key witness. And I had to beat the matter for him. If he had went to prison, Miss Wild and them wouldn't have did nothing to me. If my brother Tony had went to prison for that protecting our home, in retrospect, Miss Wild and them wouldn't have called every job I had because the prosecutor that day, I remember like it was yesterday. He said, he was trying to make to the jury that I was this incompetent young fella. There's no way he gonna be able to comprehend these complicated thesis I'm putting forward to you guys today. So I let him know, yes, I will. Come on with it. So after I got through with that, my brother walked out of there. But we didn't know nothing. My mother, again, she did not forewarn us about this vicious racism. She just always displayed a fear of us leaving out the house. So now I know the fear. And we still have a problem with that as people of color. We feel like that's not healthy for you to tell your child that there's vicious racism in our world. You got some European people, they don't care how good you are, they're going to hate your guts. You can be the best God made at your job. You got this racist person there and got a Negro working for him. That's my experience at Rendezvous. That's my experience at BB King. That was my experience as I was working. They were saying it was Penny nitty gritty. I was trying to work for Penny because I know when he walked in there and he seen me, I would be able on the golf course with him now. But they was preventing that. Amy White was stalking me. I was working for BB King, but I was being stalked and harassed so tough. I was a saute chef at BB King for 2 months of the 3 months that I worked there. They kept me on the roster as a prep cook. I worked at BB King those 90 days. After I was in there and got a check, I got a call one day from the kitchen manager, Yolanda. She said if I didn't give her my social security number, I wouldn't get my next check. All the time it was Amy Wire. I went to getting those. I got a few of the fraudulent checks. And as soon as they gave me those fraudulent ones, shortly thereafter, they had to harass me out the door. At any rate, Miss Wire, she put that fake child support and then look up BB King had me working in Oklahoma City, Oklahoma. They were in Oklahoma City, Oklahoma taking down a check on me. I believe they had me some kind of way at the Hard Rock Cafe because they shut down right across the street. You know, Shaquille O'Neal and all the heavyweights invest in Hard Rock Cafe. Ain't no way in the hell Hard Rock Cafe supposed to close down. With the business that's up and down Beale Street right there and Hard Rock Cafe closed down. Excuse me. Let me alone, baby. At any rate, something may have happened with my identity being stolen. Because I used to see one of my guys who used to be in the AA over there at Freedom Road. I used to see him going over into the Hard Rock Cafe. And unfortunately, man, and you know what I'm saying, I used to be in AA. I used to be up there at 600 Poplar. Big Man and Benny, them, they never did want us to go and deal with the guys at Freedom Road for some reason. I didn't know why. But I've learned later on. Freedom Road, even though some men have recovered, when I say recover, that means they're not using drugs and alcohol. They're not recovered now morally, spiritually per se, and in a number of other areas. But they're not using drugs and alcohol. So this is why Big Man and them didn't want us to go over in there. But of course we wanted to go over in there because back in the day, they used to have them guys, them be over in there now. At any rate, them guys, you go over in there, they would have the gator shoes on and the Bentleys out, the Benzes and different things. And you would hear about their story from hopelessness to owning the whole damn neighborhood. So that was inspiring to me because I always knew that I had the wherewithal to be a success. And I still do. This is my hope tonight. Last time I was around some of my guys, one of my guys said to me, well, Brian, you poor. And then he said, and you old. Ain't nothing old about me. See, again, I mentioned on my video that Miss Wyrick took down earlier tonight how Michael Jackson and Prince and these guys, you would think they had a real good life. They had all the money that things could buy. So money ain't what makes us happy. They had all their friends, all the things that money could buy. But look like they're in the end, they had turned to other things. Sammy Davis Jr. I can just go on and on and on. It's something about that industry that destroys the human soul for wealth, temporal wealth, with the soul being eternal. I don't bargain with my soul. I've said on a number of other occasions, I'm not going to do a long drawn out video here because I want to get it up. Only reason I'm doing it now, I'm trying to expose domestic terrorism targeting me and my wife as a retaliation for me trying to get some recompense for this all-out assault by a criminal enterprise led by judicial officials there in Shelby County targeting me. Those 9 that were indicted, Glenda Adams and those people, 8/3/2021, they were targeting me, stalking me. Not just targeting me, stalking me. Miss Wyrick know that. She told a lie when they was doing that thing with the TBI first came and they was telling her, matter of fact, it was the Memphis police who was investigating that thing first. And they passed it on to the TBI. At any rate, Miss Wyrick told the TBI, said, y'all ain't gonna find nothing on that. Then I saw in another setting, she flipped the switch. She said she the one suggested that they investigate these 9. No, you didn't suggest that, Miss Wyrick. Those 9 was an extension of you. They wouldn't have known nothing about no Brian Charles had no money. These people, some of those people were lay people, was just tethered to Glenda Adams and Isha Berry and these people, Mr. Harvey and these people, Mr. Neglia. All these people were subordinates to Amy Wyrick, who dominated Memphis politics for the years that she was there. Mr. Gibbons, he couldn't be out there with the big stick. But y'all know he swung a big stick now. So Miss Wyrick was the big stick when she was the assistant district attorney. The one who had the homicide detective to go and hit for him. If that's what they needed done. Hey, they was the one who was going to decide if it was a crime or not, pump it or dump it. Like the young fella Stewart, the kid who was in the car with the other guy, he was the passenger, they say. And they, Miss Wyrick, after they got through doctoring the film up, he was out there, they supposedly out in a field that's wrestling, going backwards and forward. Then we look up, the kid's no longer with us. Well, Miss Wyrick was in control. Miss Wyrick hold the tapes, the bodies and all that. You can't see them for 3 days. Why? What is that? That's in control of the narrative. That's in control of the timeline. Well, that's just deciding whether it's murder or whether it was this person was, still alive for this period of time, and all the time that person was dead, but they was solidifying the paperwork, because the paperwork is what moved the system, not the bodies. So I've been watching them, Miss White. Like the last time she kidnapped me, 8/22/2025 in this city. The first time she kidnapped me, I got over there and they let me go for 30 days. When I got into the court setting, the lady took this. I'm looking at the judge, right? I'm coming up to the thing like I'm a cripple, like I'm a criminal. Got me shackled over in Arkansas. I get to the thing, the lady looking at the thing, she said, Mr. Charles, she said, she raised her head up and looked at the prosecutor's tape. She said, this warrant came out the Sunday before Labor Day. So she automatically knew it was fraudulent. So she called a recess. This was 9/2/2024. I was kidnapped from a hotel in the city that I'm in. People who I'm in this hotel, unfortunately, own the same hotel. They own this one too. So these people, of course, people in business like that, they don't want that. When I first got to town back in 2024, all I was hearing was how these people own 8 hotels, and they would be passing me and baby as we walking panhandling with our signs, looking at us like we had shit on us. All the time they had a Negro who was working the night shift. He was stealing our identity, renting rooms high and low at every one of their facilities using our Expedia Wyndham accounts. Still see the Negro in this town. Was stalking me around. I went to get some weed one day. I would get over in the area. Some of the maids who used to be trying to help them stalking and stealing identity or steal whatever you have, they was watching me. They would see me. I'm coming over. It's a rough part of town. So this particular day, I get off the bus, like clockwork, shoot down through there to get my little green and kind of get back. As soon as I turn to go in another area, I look up, a police car. And I know it's people everywhere. He's targeting me. So when I seen him, I just know he couldn't be coming for me. This law-abiding citizen. All the time, Miss Wiry stalking this cell phone that was in my pocket. I done already got a federal lawsuit pending against her right now. I'm looking for it to be expedited because I filed a lawsuit in 2011 when she kidnapped me out of San Diego, California, out of my wife's presence. We had an Infiniti back then. We were living in our car out there in California on the ocean where the temperature stayed at 70 degrees. And we were just homeless, living out the car better than I could do down in North Memphis with 3 jobs. I'm living really better now. I don't do nothing but panhandling than I did when I worked jobs. I worked for Federal Express through a prestigious place, and come to find out Miss Wire was so powerful, she would set up a branch like she was with Command Center. She'll go have Command Center to get you to fill out an application all the time. It's for her to steal your identity. And now they've got you set up like you working at Command Center. You ain't worked for Command Center for 20 years, 30 years. Like when I looked up and seen Lieutenant Kelly at the desk right there, Trojan Label, shortly thereafter, me and baby, we was separated. They had my baby somewhere else, and they had me living down on Lamar. And they been stealing our identity, drawing checks, and sending hitters at us high and low. Motherfucker damn near killed my wife's, what was that, August 20th of 2017 on West Town Mall parking lot. After so many complaints we had made, she was a stylist within Style Salon. My last job in the cosmetology industry was 8/13/2016 there in the Smart Styles on Kinsel Way in Knoxville, Tennessee. I had kicked ass a mile a minute. The lady's name was Heidi. She was from Maine. And she was the manager when I came in. So Miss Wagner was desperately trying to keep me from working because I hadn't filed that complaint at the Tennessee Human Rights Commission, trying to get some relief from this stalking and special aggravated identity theft that Miss White was putting down on me, trying to suppress the theft of those $5 million that I sued for and won. Miss White will intercept your matter. If you're incarcerated, she got you incarcerated. Or you can be incarcerated in another state. And you suing, and she the cause of you suing, unbeknownst to you, she'll go to intercepting your mail or get a colleague in that state you in. And they work their jail on you, man. Like I looked up, after I sued in Pine Bluff jail after she kidnapped me 8/22/2025. I jump all around, y'all bear with me. I look up, went to getting some mail. I got 2-3 letters got the U.S. District Court on it, but I don't see that jail number on it. So I know this was fake mail. All the time it's a Jerome Kearney. He's a magistrate judge. He's some kind of way involved with Amy Wyrick, and they some kind of way got tied up with this money. Stole that money. Because some kind of way they had my address, 654 Laurel, and when they kidnapped me 8/22/2025 in this city, some kind of way they had my address was 654 Laurel. I made the officer, let me see it. He put the screen up. It wasn't the screen that was running, that was in the police car. It was Amy Wyrick was in control of the screen because I saw some aliases on my brother, Tony Gilmore Charles' name. It's an old jacket she got out of the jail when she switched the system in 2011 when I was filing all that paperwork and she was trying to hide the theft of all that money. So she hid me in the jail, had me out there at the penal farm on the indefinite incarceration, and they were supposed to release me or took me over to the federal judge in 2011 of October, November. I had access to that on the Pacer. You can go on and check the federal filings. I had to sue against, I sued Mozingo and them on another case. Miss Wyrick, she's this is exculpatory evidence I'm talking about, and Miss Wyrick is a master. If she don't remove it, she'll mix it together, trying to get away and commit a crime. Miss Wyrick, hey man, she's a poor excuse for a human being. I hate to be calling her name. If she hadn't adversely affected my life in such a way, I wouldn't be calling her name. I don't know if this something I should be even say, but somehow I still can't muster hate. This thing they call hate. Somehow I'm unable to muster that. But now, do I want her to suffer and be in the penitentiary and get hit in her mouth regularly and did wrong? I want her to be done wrong for the way she's done me and my wife wrong and attempted murders on our lives. I don't want her to keep smiling and going to these jobs like she didn't figure the whole game out and just a low vibration criminal. So I'm just really grateful, man, tonight to be clothed in my right mind with my health and strength. So I'm not going to drag on the video. My wife, she go to mommy, and I know that she ready for me to stop it, and I didn't think I was saying nothing that was too far out the way. Yeah, so they projecting, we trying to look at the news right now. Miss Wyrick, again, she had this Indian lady had her brother to come out of Memphis and rewire the whole thing. Again, we wasn't getting Wi-Fi at all. And then when I would do it and check my Wi-Fi, somehow it was still Miss Wyrick with her Mac things and control everything all around me. I go to the Burger King and go in there. I look up a motherfucker on the phone right here, and I look up, it's projecting with these little letters and different shit with the Mac thing in front of it. So what I've done in the past, when I see that, I'm going to send it to some people who know how to decipher that kind of shit, Miss Wyrick. So you targeted the very right one to get you where you need to be, where you can get the help you need. Because you are one of those you like Jack the Ripper. They say Jack the Ripper was a upstanding person. Reason why he was able to get away with those crimes like that, and we've yet to get that's still an open case. You see? There was somebody like you, Miss Wyrick, thought they were too big to be prosecuted. Because you were right there with the people who do the prosecuting. And ironically, you were the one who was the prosecutor. So you buried a lot of bodies and you've taken down a lot of footage and said there was no footage to this. It's a lot I can say, Miss Wyrick, that I know. But I won't say it because it'll be a shocker to the consciousness of our nation. And I think I've said a few things in the past that may have done that anyway. But that don't be my intention. My intention is to get Miss Wyrick off my back where I can enjoy the remainder of my life. You see, just imagine, I'm so grateful that somebody made her let me out of that jail setting this last time. It was 9/29/2025. 38, 39 days. Well, ironically, it was 9/29/2020 when I saw Miss Wyrick in downtown Atlanta, Georgia, on a bicycle with her hair wet, and the black guy had just came out of the hotel, out of those apartments right over from Piedmont Park. If we were to go to Atlanta right now in downtown Atlanta and go over by Piedmont Park, you know, you can go right over there by that street where the store will take you right down through there, and you got them apartments right here, and then on this right here, you got Piedmont Park. You got those hedges, and the park is over there. So me and baby was over in there. We're going to fill out some applications. We hadn't already filled out applications for Federal Express. I had. I'm always been a stand-up guy. Man, I'll work, baby. You just stay in the car if I get this FedEx job, and then we should be able to get enough bankroll in a week or two to be living on Easy Street. But that hadn't been our experience because Miss White been stealing my money some kind of way. I was working over there again. I was living at 1922 Elvis Presley, me and baby, and I worked for 90 days for Federal Express. I was making $20 an hour at Federal Express. I was getting overtime. Man, me and baby look up when I get that check in my hand, we be $400-$500 short of the overtime I be there earning. Miss Wire controlling it. She done set up a pilot prestigious placement. She didn't put this one on director's role, but when you go and check, you look in the paperwork, you just see some prestigious placement out there on Hacks Crossing. But she stalking and listening to me needing a job. And she's trying to keep drawing that money. Every time I go to work, she get that benefit somehow. Like my wife just said today to me. She said, baby, we be paying the people cash in some kind of way. Miss Wire be using their credit card and they getting her the cash. I try to tell my wife how that ain't my business. And I believe that the authorities are on to these people. So and their time is drawn to a close. Look like at all the hotels where we at, they didn't been whoever they was using that Expedia and Wyndham, that shit been shut down because I ain't never seen these hotels this empty. Me and baby, when she was going with me, she would see together with me, but now I've been going out here lately by the last couple of weeks due to the cold by myself, and I be looking, paying attention. I study, and there they go. They empty now all of a sudden. But the people there at the Divine Intervention, who stole our identity when we immediately hit the town, put us down here in one of these people where we're staying at now's hotel that was closed at the time. All the time she was stealing our identity. Took our identities in another room, took the pictures of them. I believe they went and tried to get another identity made in my name. But Miss Wyrick and her having me abducted the 2 times since she had sent the state trooper and the police up on me, they suppressed the 3 times she sent the police up on me, law enforcement. They suppressed the actual encounter. I believe this last one actually put it in the computer correctly. Because when he put me in the car that day, they got me on this little weed charge. He looked back, he's looked at the picture and the thing. Miss Wyrick still got a picture she had and put in there from 2001. It ain't no picture with me standing up in nobody's jail. It's a personal picture Miss Wyrick got. They ain't even got no crime record of me. The only crime record I have is Miss Wyrick and Bill Gibbons and them been calling into my job, creating them because they had access to computers to make the people who are lay people believe that they got legitimate documents in their hand, and they have sabotaged my life using fraudulent documents over the years. They took so many men and women lives down there talking about they had indicted them. I know that Miss Wyrick learned how to send those fraudulent indictments through Bill Gibbons. She didn't just come up with that on her own. But I was just one who had been to 5 colleges. When she grabbed me in July of 2011, when I walked in Judge Scahan's courtroom, I immediately told the judge, this is fraud. So she had to give me the jacket because I was representing myself. So the jacket was a skeleton of a jacket. She hadn't taken out all the exculpatory evidence in retrospect, but I had this document. She stated it was their indictment. I'm looking at it. Kind of like some of the frozen shit I done put up showing you when they had me kidnapped. And I looked at it, I said, God damn, this is the same motherfucker I made. Obvious that this was a racist criminal in Judge Rook's courtroom that day. Romero, he the prosecutor and the witness. Mary Thomas rubber stamped. Like she had something to do with this bill that I'm And I beat the case open in court. But Miss Rooks, I watched, and I'm all over the place. I was watching when they was talking about Tyree Nichols. They were standing there in front of the Lorraine Motels, and that elderly judge, I think she was a federal judge, and she took to the podium. And she was talking about basically her career here in the city and the racism, how she's experienced it as a federal judge. Basically how they was telling me to sit my ass down somewhere, these white people. So, man, I just kind of lost track of what I was talking about. At any rate, hey, man, we're afraid to talk about the racism. My mother was afraid to talk about the racism. She didn't allow the racism to you couldn't say nothing on her job now, violating, talking about some racist shit. She would walk out and quit. So she didn't teach me to be no Benedict Arnold toward myself or my people, to compromise myself for any amount of money. She didn't teach me how to do that. So, and I can remember my brother, me and Tony, and we were young people over there in South Memphis, over there on 156 East Essex Street. And we were growing up, and we used to go out in the streets. And my mom would tell us, say, Marcus would be with us sometime. My mom would say, now look at here. When y'all go out here in these streets, if Brian ass go to picking with somebody and they get on his ass, don't y'all help him fight. Sit down, but don't you let him hurt him now. So I was never taught to be no treacherous motherfucker, to go to jump on no motherfucker just because I didn't like him or to, you see, not even with my brothers. So you think I was going to get with some motherfucker, one me, my brother, now and we going to go and we going to target this person. I ain't never had that kind of loss in my heart. But we study this gang stalking and this type of shit, and that's the very nature of the people who make up that group of people. You see? Treacherous motherfuckers, man, from childhood. I'm gonna stalk this motherfucker. The people pay them to stalk these people to run them crazy if they can. My wife mentioned that tonight. That's the whole gist of the stalking. If the federal judge hadn't signed on beside my name, the most honorable Mr. Rundusky, I think that's the gentleman out of Little Rock, Arkansas, Miss Wild had me lined up to be to a mental ward tonight. Not sitting here making no video exposing no criminal enterprise or domestic terrorist organization, but fighting still. And gonna win. I'm finna end this video. You know, winners win and quitters quit. And I'm not about to quit. So I'm just really grateful to have the opportunity to even do the video on this. Even though I'm doing it on my phone, it's been suggested that I do it that way. And upload them to whatever sites I want them to go up to then that way. It's been suggested that I do that to me. But I'm just still been trying to make this bitch get out of my way. Leave me alone, bitch. But I realized that I'm not the typical guy. And the Most High God, when you read all these different books and then had the different experiences that I had, those words will come out of you. See, it's no greater garden than the human mind. Somewhere it's written in the Bible how the wheat and the tares grew up together. The parable of the wheat and the tare. Right. And we know that we're talking about metaphor, we're talking about metaphysics, we're talking about occult, we're talking about a lot of things when we're talking about religion. So the greatest garden that you can ever cultivate is your mind. They used to have that commercial when I was a kid growing up in Memphis. I was in North Memphis then. I had moved to North Memphis when I was 10. And they had a commercial, and you would look up and that egg would hit the skillet. It said, this is your brain. It said, this is your brain on drugs. The gist of that, I'm sure, is the importance of the brain. The brain being the physical apparatus under our skulls that is a computer, they say. But if I mess around and I let that virus get in my computer, then my computer will be useless. That's why when Miss Wyrie was stalking us all over the years, and she get ready to take the phone or whatever communications device I have, she might go to flashing it. You got virus. You got virus. You got virus. I ain't got no viruses. I ain't Wyrie. You the virus. But she had full reign when she was the DA. She did what the hell she wanted to do, and better not no motherfucker say nothing about it. I was talking about the judge, the federal judge, who was talking about how they was even telling her to sit down and be quiet. We got this. Since Boss Crump, somebody put up, my guy, Pastor Guyton, Timothy Guyton, put up Boss Crump. I saw him talking. I got a picture there. I got the Memphis Fire Department's blue shirt on with the pink trimming, and I'm sitting there and took the picture there on Twitter and Facebook. And I'm sitting there, look to my right, is Boss Crump on the thing. They let you know Boss Crump, what he said, go. I got some insight on Boss Crump from my brother-in-law prior to his passing. He was telling how back in the day, Boss Crump, they let you know, in that piece that Timothy Guyton put up, he let you know that Boss Crump ran the political arena from here to D.C., from Memphis to D.C. So, during the political time, when he wanted them lobes and different ones to have their man in there where they can continue on with their Jim Crowism, you see, he gave the Negro, who know the Negro has always been the swing vote after the 14th Amendment was passed. A lot of people, we hear a lot of wrangling over that 14th Amendment right now. Because that 14th Amendment, if they can remove that 14th Amendment, then the people of color, those who fall under the African American Negro title, hey man, you're in bad shape. Better pay attention, quit popping your ass so much. Turning on your fellow man, letting them use you to gang stalk people growed up with you. That's what I observed as I was there in North Memphis, and they thought I was asleep. Negroes right there beside me, supposed to be. And then Miss Wyrie had one of her guys who was one of the 9, old Nolan, the bald-headed one with the beard, who was indicted with the 9-8-3-20-21. He would be right there up on top of me. In retrospect, I went to piss one night over at Larry Naylor's house. This nigga come back there. In retrospect, he was trying to figure a way to hit me. But God held this shield of protection over me. And I looked at the nigga and kept right on about my business. This nigga been caught up in a state and federal public corruption indictment, and he's targeting me, and Miss Wyrie got him right on top of me. One of the last times I was on Maplewood I was walking that night. I was sitting there. It was after COVID of course it was after COVID. So one of my guys, Carlos, his mother had passed. God rest her soul. So hey man, I've always trusted God. I didn't trust Mr. Fauci them. I don't trust that like that. I have to trust my gut. The solar plexus region, it tells me what to do every day. I try to listen for every turn because I can louse it up. I lose my thought sometime. At any rate, hey man, I'm gonna get out of here, man. I'm just grateful again for one more day clothed in my right mind, man. And we've been up against Amy Wyrie. Several attempts on my life. 9/29/2020 in downtown Atlanta. That little voice, I looked to my right. I looked up, it was a Negro. He had on a Amazon vest and a Federal Express hat. No, UPS. He had a UPS hat and an Amazon vest. He was disheveled. He had just got out of the shower with Amy Wyrie. Me and Baby had been trying to get a job. We were sleeping in our vehicle over at the Publix almost in that Midtown area. Not the one that The last transaction, she was able to stalk me over that Publix, not that one. We was at the one over by North Avenue in Peachtree. We were sleeping in the vehicle right there, trying to rest. Miss Wire stalking us, got motherfuckers all over us. We went to the Salvation Army. When we got back the next time, they had told us when to come back. When we got back, Miss Wire knew we didn't have a dime. They told us you need $7 a piece to get here. And I could tell how they was saying that they was had been contacted by Amy Wiry. But see, Regis Salon's affairs was taken over by Deloitte. When that 1,000 salons and all that I was telling you about. Ironically, it's a Negro. I grew up with the Negro. I seen him on my Facebook feed. I seen him come through there, and then I happened to look, and I saw that he was with Deloitte. That was the same Negro in Atlanta, Georgia. I didn't tell my wife, but when they had denied us access to the Salvation Army, and we came around, and we went to turn up the side street, finna go on back and try to make another move, the Negro with the computer was the boy who worked for Deloitte. Told you about them pixels. So Deloitte took over after they sold 1,000 stores, and that collapsed. See, right there in the state of Tennessee, the Beautiful Group was the Secretary of State barred them from doing business in the state. They must call them over into all kind of fraud, but they would tell it to Amy Wiry, and Amy Wiry was telling it to our then Attorney General, who was telling it to Mr. Haslam, so they swept that under the rug. Empire Education Group still got salons and businesses right there in the state of Tennessee. They were forced to those small styles. The reason why they are not in the stores anymore, I filed at 5/7/2016, and the Tennessee Human Rights Commission ruled in my favor immediately. Miss Wiry sent the police to our door in Chattanooga Guns drone after she had them 5'9", after I filed them out of 5'7", 5'9", when I showed up to work. The same giant Mexican police was pacing in front of the doors, the salon. Was the same giant Mexican police came up beside me in Oklahoma City, Oklahoma, as I went in this store. And he said that we got to keep you alive. See, can we keep you alive? Now he was a police in Oklahoma City, Oklahoma, as well as in Chattanooga, Tennessee. Miss Wiry sent a police at me in San Diego, California one day. I had them got away. That was the 4th of July. We were in this hotel. I didn't have to do nothing. I wasn't smoking no weed in the room because I had a nice SUV to sit out in the car and smoke in the sunlight with the beautiful trees and beautiful setting. So I sat out in the car. I had to went over and got my weed from the dispensary. Miss Wiry stalking me. Got the people at the dispensary got an attitude with me. All the time she trying to seize my identity, me and my baby. Our unemployment. That they didn't put this $1.9 million in case number 011700065605. Brian J. Charles versus Empire Education Group, who are owned 55% by Regis Salons. But I was using a lowercase Brian Charles 777. Miss Wiry know how to seize your different accounts, and you thinking you controlling it all the time. They just letting you put enough information in it where they can seize it and be you. So Miss Wiry and them cyber gang stalked us out of Chattanooga, Tennessee, and they became us. Went to get the mail when I filed that matter in Chattanooga. They ruled in my favor immediately. Miss Wiry and them went to have somebody living in the physical address that the gang stalked us from, and they go to getting that mail to these different lawyer people like her husband and herself, and Glenda Adams, and Isha Berry, and these type of people. Isha Berry, her job was to really basically, she was paid to be a professional forger. When they found out what she was really into, she hadn't been caught going in that computer 32,000 sometimes, stalking me all over the country. You notice that Glenda Adams was charged with interstate laws. That was my That was me. Me and baby was me and my wife, we were trying to live. You thought we wanted to die? We were watching people die during the height of COVID-19. But we were having to deal with Amy Wyrick, a sitting district attorney. And we sit here tonight yet, still not repaired. So I know I'm going to end the video on that because I know my repairman must be en route to me and my wife. But we're not happy tonight. We're fighting up against domestic terrorism at a high level. We hear about that being talked about in the world news now. It's a lot happening. I sit and talk about my issues, but really I'm a mature, intelligent person. So I understand that my problems, even though they may be more and a lot to me, they pale in comparison to the problems of our world. Mr. Trump saying he finna go back with the mental institutions. Well, that's necessary because most of the people in the society today they have lost their minds. The homeless population, a lot of times you're looking at the children whose parents used them for a paycheck when they were young. The parent didn't do nothing in school. They'll give you a C just to show up in class, just to show up every day. You get a C. I took a political science class when I was there in UAPB. I got away from the school a year or two later. I looked back to the girl who was Miss UAPB, sat in the class with me. Well, that girl couldn't spell her name damn near. She showed up every day though. And she smiled. And she became a Delta or something. So, really, they're showing you when you get to the college campuses nowadays, in the black colleges, in the European colleges as well. Because we used to go to the European frat houses there in Knoxville when my partner Milton Gordon was over there in 86. And it's the same thing. And all that is based on the bacchanalia and the different orgies and different shit that they used to have back in the day. The people of the elite, they would have orgies and different shit going on. We see that you might have these people think of orgies. Some people, their orgy is this 40, 50-year-old man with the 20, 18-month-old babies. That's the world we live in. That's the world I was talking about on this video earlier today that she wouldn't let y'all get. I was talking about that awful horror standing in the holy place that most of us don't know nothing about. We're talking about Satan's very self down here to visit us. He was kicked down to earth. He said, get thee down from here. Where you think they kicked him? Well, we're talking about aeons ago. So we're talking about a lot of things have happened. So if we go into the physiology of the brain, we know at the root of the brain, we got a part of our brain called the R complex. We know that as us who did any research, we know that as the reptilian brain. So that's all it used to be. Before it was all this that we got now. It was a time when the people was just that. They were way more keener than they is now. Because now the people, this thing, all this frontal lobe and all this thing rolled over there. Or was placed over it. I don't know. This jury's still out on that. So I'm going to get out of here. Hey man, we just grateful for one more day clothing in our right minds with our health and strength. I really believe personally, from my own knowing of myself, and I know my wife, she's a quality lady. I wouldn't have married my wife if she was a throwaway. But Miss Wyrick has denied the world some great spirits at a time when some great spirits need to be seen in our world. When the kids are almost hopeless due to the models that they are putting up in front of them. I was looking the other day on my Facebook and I saw A$AP Rocky. I thought there was A$AP Rocky I used to see with all the satanic imagery in his videos. And then you got some of the videos where Rihanna will tell you straight out of her mouth, because I'm a devil worshiper, dummy. Unfortunately, Satan rules this region we call home. That's why we heard some of the old Baptist preachers, they used to tell us how this really wasn't our home. We just visiting here. And one day we're going to have to give this old earth suit back to its owner. Because that's obvious we don't own them. If they can call it back when they get ready. And then we have to be who we really are. So that's why I don't be nowhere trying to be too larcenous toward others. I'm nowhere trying to retaliate on nobody for stealing my life and attempted murders on me and just made my life a living hell. I'm nowhere even plotting revenge. Because I'm sure that all of y'all gonna get what you deserve. It's gonna all pan out in the end. But I pray that this thing gonna be expedited for me and the missus. And I believe that's what's happening right now. But Miss Wiry sent some fraudulent mail in here the other day. She hates that this matter is on her ass right now. But these people, they held it over here in Arkansas for a good 90 days. And I looked up January the 9th, and it's now in the Western District of Tennessee. And the federal judge, and they already familiar with you, Miss Wiry. They know you're not no motherfucker to be played with. They know you will do anything. But in the past, you were in a position to weasel out. Scapegoated, like you did with Miss Glenda Adams and them. Those 9, you just scapegoated them. You were the culprit. You were the impetus. You were the catalyst. Them people were just following your orders. And you had them so far in, like P did in different ones, I'm be having them, they be so far in, they got to do what they tell them to do. Otherwise, I'm going to cut you off now. And you know my cutoff might be you dead. You know ain't no way in the hell nobody gonna break in and jump on a prosecutor at her house and it ain't a prosecutor doing it. When I heard that back in the day when that lady was ran out of town from doing law, period. It's a lot of shit that happened on Miss Wiry's watch that was swept under the rug. Miss Wiry is a diabolical malfeasant. And she has hindered my and the missus' life for long enough, state of Tennessee. We demand you cease and desist your domestic terrorism against our lives this one last time, Amy Wyrick. You and your husband, Charles Wyrick. Charles Wyrick was there in Phoenix, Arizona. We hadn't been over to we thought it was still the same place we had been forced to access in 2008 when we were gang stalked from 901 North Royal Street in Jackson, Tennessee. It was this older gentleman. He was a heavyweight master mason, and he was calling all the shots, holding all the paperwork, and wasn't letting no motherfucker bribe him. But it's a whole new crew there at 232 West 12th. It's a whole new crew. South 12th, it's a whole new crew in there, and they work right. Amy Wyrick and them totally dominated. We went in there in 2024. Yeah, me and baby went in there in 2024. No, that was 2025, wasn't it? July of 2025. June, July 2025.
Last year, that was in 2024.
No, it wasn't.
We went down there back, and you talking about when we went back in there and we checked in. And then we
right, that was 2024.
When we went back in Flagstaff,
yeah, we were there in 2024. We were actually centered in Flagstaff, but we wanted to go up there and check and see if we had any chance of getting our identities back. May of 2024, all the time is wiring all over the top of us. She's determined she's going to have our lives, and she's like a fiendish, hey man, I didn't watch it, I can't give you quoted verbatim, and I'm finna close the video. This guy, Jack Parsons and them. Jack Parsons is one of the founders of NASA. They were into the occult. They were into Satanism. So they came up with this. They had already knew how to channel these demonic entities. So they had to channel this demonic entity. And they said the character who played the demonic entity was Anton LaVey himself. So he was looking down on this lady and he impregnated her. I think the name of the movie was Rosemary's Baby. So Jack Parsons was into the occult, and they were into a lot of treachery, and they were into rocket propulsion and different shit. So in the occult, you hear of Solomon. And they say that Solomon used jinn to build the second temple. He was able to master of the jinn. So you have people in our society that want to control the unseen realm and cause destructive acts to occur in your life and believe they have the wherewithal to do that. What I'm getting, baby? You ain't hear me? I'm getting something right here. See how you do?
Yeah, I heard.
What I'm getting? Jack. At any rate, what I'm getting at is this. They were seeking to create an evil entity to walk around on earth and do evil. So we know this group of people who seek to create evil on our earth. So we can quit acting like when somebody say a statement, oh man, you said that. And you got motherfuckers like I just described, they think their ideal night out is me 50, 40, 30 years old in the room with 12, 18-month-olds. So that's the world we live in. So some of those same acts, and I'm going to close the video. Some of those same acts, if there is any truth to the Bible, I don't think that part where, is it? Is Sodom and Gomorrah in the Pentateuch? I noticed that certain religions, they just stop, they don't recognize. You ask them if they acknowledge Jesus, and they don't acknowledge this Jesus that was foisted on the people of color. They stopped with Moses. At any rate, we had a time when they said it rained fire and brimstone from the sky based on these people choosing the same sex. They say these angels came to see Abraham's son Lot. And they saw these angels, and the angels was just trying to get in, forewarn Lot what was about to go down. So the angels were on a mission from deity. So these wicked people, these woke people, these DEI champions, they came to Brother Lot and they circled his home. Told him to send those two men back out here so we can get at them. And Brother Lot told him, say, hey man, don't disgrace me like that. So take my daughters. These two women, these two girls ain't never been touched by nobody. Take them and... No, we don't want them. You know we don't want them. We talking about degeneracy. Made fair seeming today. They'll oust you for going against that type of treachery. For trying to forewarn your own seed from this. And these beings, they said the angels blinded them. Pulled Lot back in the house and said, hey, we knew they was into that. That's why we here. But Lot's wife. And they said Socrates' wife used to throw water on his head every day. My wife is a good lady. But none of us are perfect. She has certain things. We all have things we can work on and be better at. But sometimes we all can get complacent and get stuck in these ways we have. I'm half some. At any rate, that place was destroyed. We hear say ain't no vegetable or none growed over there yet. They say you can go right there now and see that area. But we had a group of people ramming it down our throat. And if we didn't accept it, we was barred from fixing her. You know, that's the reason why I had so much flack there at the Empire Education Group. There, while I was in school. I had brought my wife in there a week or two after I had been in there maybe a month. And we were right there. We looking to be multimillionaires. And all the time, these people are into stealing and destroying black people, people of color, stealing their lives. And they was looking for them to be too incompetent to master the curriculum aspect, the theory. That's why it's such dismal numbers there. But they had their accreditor knockers. Hey, man, some kind of way they bought into that. Regis Salons, reason I went to Regis Salons school was because I saw that they were worth $1.9 billion. When me and my wife enrolled into the school, they had all the partners up on the board. Fantastic Sam's, all these schools. I mean, all these professional places. See, I knew I had what it take, and I know my wife, if she wasn't up to speed, I know I was going to get her up to speed. So we went in there to be rich people and to be living the good life over in Paris, sitting behind Shadur and them right there, just trying to relax. But others have been unable to do that, like Maurice Blake. He been to New Zealand everywhere. Then lived the life of Riley using my life. Or maybe my brother, Tony Gilmore Charles. Or maybe my mother, Miss Gina Charles. My sister, Venus Britton, a low life. And the last time I was there over by that region, Keely Ben's mother, Miss Benz, I hope and pray that she's still up and going. That was my mother's friend. And she was watching me in retrospect when my mother was dying. I was smoking out the frame. I was out my mind. My mother had looked me in my eye and told me to take the stuff out the house. Don't go nowhere and get in jail because I ain't going to be able to get you out. So I took and followed her instructions. I was taking this stuff out the house and I was going up there in Hollywood. That's when the guys still had the cafe right there next to the greenhouse. Still was standing a little. They had them set it afire, but it was still standing. And man, I was catching hell going through, man, and all the time my life fell apart. So Miss Benz had told me, forewarned, don't go back over there. I had been over there with old Maurice Blake. All the time, Maurice Blake, in retrospect, in 95, after my mother was passing, she hadn't even died yet, but Venus and my brother Tony had tried to push in the house late one night. So I didn't let them come in. What the fuck you coming in here for? All the time, Venus and my brother Dino, they got their eye on that money. My mama's death certificates and all this mail. They hadn't already intercepted my mail, whereas I had them sued over in Arkansas, so that money was already, the check had already been cut for me, unbeknownst to me. But Miss Warwick had made a move on me before they released me over in Arkansas. She had them to extradite me to Atlanta, Georgia all the time. Atlanta, Georgia ain't even have me and want me for nothing. All the time she trying to mix up this money. Then one time I looked up, I was in the jail, and a motherfucker had me what appeared to be a federal letter, envelope. Your case been dismissed. Oh, you can find me in jail, but to give me a dismissal, but you can't find me to tell me I got $5 million. This is Bill Gibbons and Amy Wiry. So since that time, man, I've been catching hell. How do you think I'm gonna live? A motherfucker been stalking me like that. And when I come through the thing and ask some of you niggas who been right up around me, tell you to cash out me, send my cash out, you low-life motherfuckers won't even do that. The type of chicken shit sellout motherfuckers who Benedict Arnold type motherfuckers who sold out people like Malcolm X and all these people who have really tried to make a advance for the people of color as a whole, not in a selfish way. Just so my family can eat and the rest of them, fuck them, let them die. And that's why there's so much squalor over there in North Memphis. Because this is the type of people we've esteemed. Motherfuckers like Big Meech and Freeway Rick Ross and these type of motherfuckers get out and we glorify these motherfuckers who ain't did nothing but destroyed the neighborhood. So many motherfuckers in the back of that penitentiary due to that crack epidemic and dead and fucked up, mentally ill, and you name it. The effects of crack hadn't all been weighed out today. But we'll try to raise this motherfucker up over the one who just went to work and went to the Navy and got his life, and he ain't shit compared to some of these motherfuckers. He's just a goofy. And this is the motherfucker we let to be the janitor at the school around the children. Like over there at the youth villages where they had the guy who gave the AIDS to the young fellow He had already been charged with a sex crime. Now he's going to get to be a counselor. Miss Wyrick people so powerful and strong at the time. You think that lady, when that $66 million came up missing, got to be there at the matter, and Miss Wyrick, you didn't green light her job there? Check it. Miss Wyrick even had Glenda Adams going in there to be a judge. Talking about her great credentials. How she's been such a good, upstanding person. You see, walking straight in the middle of the balanced scale. And just the opposite of that, her and Amy Wyrick. They mastered at breaking the law. Again, at that murder scene with the Tyree Nichols. The only reason they quit hitting him because they knew he was dead right there on the scene. But again, Miss Wyrick mastered at the 3-day move. 3 days give her enough chance to do her shit. He looked up and seen the camera because he was just hitting him and bending down, getting the big one who they saw on the camera with the red panties on, who copped. But Miss Wyrick and them still real strong in racism, and you see, shit's still real strong. So in order before they figure us out, they got the Oreo judge and the lady to stand there and make us to believe that this is a trial to convict. I bet you I would have convicted every one of them. Because see, without violating the person's Brady rights, like Miss Wyrick often did, hey man, I'll trip them up. Like Perry Mason used to do. If they had anything to do with it, I guarantee you I'm going to trip them up. But again, most of the judicial process is 90% of it is plea bargain. So they really never go into the strategies and the different things. So that's a whole nother topic. I'm going to get out of here, man. You guys have a wonderful evening. I'm going to be laboring to do the same, man. I'm just trying to get my life out of Amy Wyrick's hand, man. She has done everything in her power to destroy me and the missus. I was telling that story about how she cyber gang stalked our vehicle down over by Piedmont Park. I keep getting kind of sidetracked on that. But eventually when I made the moves, the little voice told me to make a move so I could either go straight where the Negro was up on Piedmont Street looking both ways to see if somebody with the police looked like it. So I turned around and went back the other way. These apartments, they are cream color. So I had to urinate. I pulled off just a little to the right over there. Some more apartments. It's this gate thing. So I urinate and get back in the vehicle and get back in. We go on up and we finna get back to Memphis. Miss Wyrick, some said, look to your left. I looked to my left. Somebody, this motherfucker riding this 10 speed like she riding in the Indy 500. Stop it right beside my vehicle, damn now. I turn and I look. And some said, let the window down. Let it down. It's Amy Wyrick. Her hair wet. She just got out the shower. I looked up. I said something. She said, you better be careful. That's the last thing she said to me. And after numerous attempted murders there in Memphis, I got the hell out of there May 6th, I was out of there for good. May 6th of 2024, me and baby got the hell out of Memphis because Miss Wyrick was, she was still strong.
We left that April.
We left that 1922 Elvis Presley, April, but we was down there.
We went over here. And then
May 6th. We had came back into town May 6th. We went back to Memphis.
Yeah.
We laid on the ground out there 2 nights out there at Perkins and...
We left May the 13th. We made May the 13th, 2024.
At any rate, I've been away from there. At any rate, Miss Wyrick had the people there at the hotel at 1922. They were already working with her mainly, maintaining our identities, and they created lives for other people. I was watching. I happened to be moving around places when I be in places like this. So I looked up. My wife was just telling me how the owners now, they had this there are families be on these places a lot of times, so she looking up and seeing them walking now. So when she just told me that, I'm gonna have to go and take a walk tonight. Behind that, they trying to do like me. I walk with this goddamn phone because this is the only phone right here supposed to be projecting 901-686-5895. It's not on right now. So I'm on a Wi-Fi that these people, now I don't trust these people. Since we've been dealing with these people, they have let Miss Wyrick put her Wi-Fi system up. They have let Miss Wyrick put her phones in our rooms. Put tracking devices in our rooms when we go out to Panhandle to get money. We go out to get money, send the police at us. Then ask my wife when the police got me, where your husband at? And we ain't did nothing but spend cash money in this place. But these were the same people called the police on me Labor Day. I wasn't doing nothing but panhandling, making $57.25 for 34 or 35 days in a row. Had it that day. Reason baby was able to get this room 9/2/2024. The only reason she was able to get it because me and her went down to the block that day, but I was the breadwinner because I know how to get money. I'm a magnet for it. So we looked up that Labor Day. This white guy was up there. He works with the people at the Gateway. The Gateway guy, racist guy, came out the first time I was ever there on the corner getting some money. Gonna tell me, stay up on the sidewalk. I'm in a town that don't have a physical concrete sidewalk, so the sidewalk is grass in some of the areas. So they really mad because even in a racist area, white people will help you if they got it. So the white people be helping us. Great many white people help us. So the claiming that burns their asses. They're trying to take your life and you come on and meeting your obligations. So they be sending the police all kind of shit at us. So on that particular day, the lawnmower guy called me a nigger. He pursues us. I got him on a few other videos. And when we get back to the place, I look up the lady, the Mexican lady, was had came up to my door. Her and the girl who was there working. All these people working with Amy Wyrick. I didn't know it. So I'm trying to pay and have another day. It's Labor Day. I'm trying to pay me and baby eat us some food and call it a day. Miss Wyrick got the police coming for me. She finished kidnap me and take me to Pine Bluff, Arkansas. On Labor Day. And the judge in Pine Bluff, Arkansas saw it was fraud. So I'm really grateful again, and I'm finna close the video for the most humble judge, Mr. Rudusky. Hey man, I'm really grateful to him. I've never met him. I looked him up, I Googled him. But I'm so grateful to him. He gave Amy Wyrick and all these people who I put down on that, who had injured me, he gave them an opportunity with the motion for... Let me get it. I'm going to tell you what he gave them. I'm going to tell you right now what he gave them. I'm going to read it out to you. I'm going to do it one better. I'm going to do it one a little better than that. I see Miss Wyrick, when I get to doing this kind of stuff, she'll pull them right up in front of the room. She's a diabolical malfeasant. I'm telling you what I know. I ain't telling you something I heard. At any rate, in this, this is an order on amicus briefs. And Miss Wyrick had an opportunity to respond, her and the people, all these criminals. They had an opportunity to present to Mr. Randusky, the Most Honorable Lee P. Rudofsky. Yeah, that's Rudofsky. The Most Honorable Lee P. Rudofsky. He had the matter for 90 days. This document was created 9/16/2025. This was the case number. Of course, the case number switched there in Memphis, up there in the Western District of Tennessee. At any rate, this was given to these people. I filed this matter. It was filed 9/16/2025. They had from 9/16/2025 to 1/9/2026 to at least contact the judge and tell him, hey, well, we're going to motion that he do this because he did this wrong. They had no recourse for a redress because these motherfuckers has been caught red-handed in the crime of the century. Been caught up after you stole a man's money when he was a younger person, young man. Had the opportunity to be anybody he wanted to be. Chances are if he had got that money at 90-some years old, he'd have dominated Memphis by now. Oh, we wouldn't have never heard of Mayor Warden and them guys, probably. But when you took a person, you take them for generational wealth, and then you such a treacherous entity, you will continue to pursue them, blocking all their opportunity. What type of person is that? And you actually have people like Brent Taylor who actually find fondness in you. I say he was going down there to see him at the rendezvous the other night, he said. He was had a drink or two. He's such an egotistical, lack of developed person. I heard him talk about the millions of dollars he got for the selling of the funeral homes after they came forward and said they didn't want his ass back on the property. Why you didn't say that prior to that? Trying to save face, let you know he still got the mind of a child. Children try to save face. Mature adults, they don't care nothing about no saving no face. Hell, they don't give a damn what you think about them no way. You ain't there when the bill's time to pay it no way. So what they care about you thinking for? Yeah, but he hadn't sent this this amicus brief out to him. Check it out how he wrote it out to him and sent them to him. But she couldn't respond to that, but she can stalk up around all these rooms and send these niggas in different ones all up and around them, having stalking up around you. Like I come back tonight, I had went to get some water. I look up some nigga. I look up the nigga walking down, coming off. It's ice everywhere. Gonna tell me, hey. I just kept on walking. By the time I got around on the side, he go, hey man, oh I thought you was so. I said, no. I stamped and said, no, nigga. You know I wasn't no motherfucker. I just looked at him. I didn't even respond to him. That's her little subtle stalking ways, Miss Wyrick. She's a diabolical bitch. But you're going to reap what you sow, ma'am. I'm going to read this amicus brief and I'm going to end the video. I'm the one she wanted in jail. I'm the one she's been trying to destroy. The one who can read. But the people teaching your students there, the children there in Memphis, Tennessee, we find out that the higher percentage than Steph Curry at the free throw line unable to pass that exam. So how do we expect the children to be able to pass and the teachers can't read? Then they get a superintendent that's able to bring a high standard of erudition, if you will, and they oust her. These ones who can't read. And these are the ones who Miss Wyrick wants in those positions. Because they are the status quo people. Long as they can pull in their driveway and let the garage down, they don't give a damn about the rest of the people. Chicken shit sellout ass motherfucker. Excuse my French. going to get out of here after I read this. You guys have a wonderful evening. I'm going to be laboring to do the same. But this was presented. This is law. In the law annals presented to Mr. Now the case is in Mr. Samuel Mays' courtroom, and he has the docket up from here. He came at him with such tact and with such professionalism. When I was practicing law, I often wondered why amicus briefs were generally not filed at the district court level. It occurred to me back then that such briefs could have considerably more impact at the district court level than they have at the circuit court level or even at the Supreme Court. Since taking the bench, my views on the desirability of amicus briefing at the district court level have only grown stronger. While the majority of cases on the district court's docket don't warrant amicus briefing, there are a healthy number of cases each year that do. So, Mr. Rudofsky, the most honorable Judge Rudofsky, he's a district court judge. He has reached the pinnacle of our society. He was once coming through the door, I guess, just like any other person in the federal law system. He was coming in at the bottom level. So here now he's sitting at the top of the pyramid, and he's giving the people who, if he signed on to it, he letting them know, if I sign my name onto this, it's worth me signing, or else I ain't gonna sign it. So you got a chance now with me delivering this subpoena to you and giving you what he's given to me, him or her has given to me to respond to. I'm giving you a third option prior to even responding. Your response can be directly to me. I give you the audience to come before me personally and present why I should not put the federal government in behind this matter and prosecute this case. And Miss White them been mum. They ain't said a word. All I done seen is a little stalking and shit going on around here. Sending the police at me, got me with a little weed charge. Little shit like that. Little harassment. When I just look out, see a motherfucker pulled up right there in the town empty, but at the few little spots you at, it's a car now. But I ain't no hair on my motherfucking head gonna be harmed. It's just little nitpick, little vindictive practices of a Satanist who on her way to the penitentiary and has destroyed a lot of lives. So I'm gonna finish my read. By way of example, and not limitation, each year a handful or two of cases on my docket present really serious issues of constitutional law or statutory interpretation that are not directly controlled by binding precedent. And I have found that in these cases, the parties often do not have the necessary time or economic resources to devote to full analysis of the text and history of the provision or provisions at issue. In such cases, my judicial process and my decisions would likely benefit from amicus briefing on the original public meaning of the disputed provision or provisions. I can imagine amnesty providing, among other things, important historical context, in-depth corpus linguistics analysis, or detailed structural arguments that might not make it into the parties' briefing. I recognize that amicus briefing is a costly and time-consuming endeavor. However, it is also a great way for more junior attorneys at law firms, nonprofits, corporations, and government entities to gain valuable experience, make a good reputation for themselves, and get some oral argument time. Accordingly, in addition to making it known that I invite and am grateful for amicus briefs in my cases, I wish to extend the following notice. Ms. White, your lawyer that you championed down in Memphis. I was looking at a reference on one of my videos how why would the district attorney have a lawyer? But we're talking about people who go into other genres and need a lawyer because they are dumbfounded to the laws in certain areas. So Miss Wiry, I remember the case when John Gotti, they used to call John Gotti Teflon Don. That's because they couldn't put none there and make it stick. It would roll off his back like a duck's back because he had a master attorney. Whoever this guy was, if this guy showed up, chances are Teflon was walking. So that the government found a way where this last time he went up for trial, he can do it here. All the resources you got, you can't have this guy. They had to find a way to do a conflict of interest. So John Gotti ended up dying in prison because couldn't nobody else beat him like this guy could. Me and my wife one day, we got to watch the Most Honorable Judge Scalia prior to him passing, and I was honored to get to watch him. So that's why I'm honored, man, that my name is beside these gentlemen like the Most Honorable Mr. Radofsky. There is Brian J. Charles, somebody who Amy Wiry said one shit and would never amount to nothing. 10, please, baby. Said he would never amount to nothing. But he turned out to be all right. I'm going to get off here. I'm going to close the video. I'm going to finish my read. The parties in the case may not... No. Anyone who is the principal drafter of an amicus brief on either a dispositive motion or a motion for preliminary relief in one of my cases will be guaranteed at least 10 minutes of oral argument time, so long as the person has been a lawyer for fewer than 7 years. The parties in the case may not in any way fund the amicus brief or the drafter's attendance at oral argument. That kind of gave me the impression that me as the filer of the matter, I could have came in, but I don't have to argue. I didn't present the facts. They had that option. That's why it's in my file. I got it as well, but it was presented to their law people because they had the chance to go in before a federal judge when they know it was all above board and present why Brian J. Charles shouldn't be repaired. ASAP Rocky. And they failed to do that. So now this little nitpicking shit you're doing, bitch, I know you're on your way. And I got the right to call you a bitch. The way you hindered my life. I think that's a light thing. And all the bodies that's crying from the grave. And all the men that's being brought out the back of the penitentiary. And the women as well. She sent some black women, Mr. Mulroy. Don't you let them stay back there. I ain't seen you got one of them out yet. But she destroyed the black community wholeheartedly. She bound more the black juveniles of color, people of color, over than anybody in the history of prosecuting attorney. I guarantee you that if you check it. But these things, the juvenile court thing, I hope the gentleman who's in there, I was at his father's funeral, God rest his soul, Mr. Over the juvenile court now, Mr. Sugarman. Back in the day, they were so treacherous in the juvenile court, and now I see why. See, I found out in my dealing with Amy Wiry that can't nothing come to you from the juvenile court now unless it comes from the district attorney office. With a criminal like Amy Wiry running it, and Bill Gibbons. And they targeting you for destruction. George Turner used to tell them, well, feed them till they look like you. They be hollering and crying in there, telling them ain't no blood, no kind of way pointing to this man being the baby. Baby look white, baby, and this man standing here black as tar. Well, just feed them till they look like you, son. And that's what we got handed down in our inner cities. And we was taught that this is how it goes, and don't you go against that, otherwise they'll kill you, nigga. They shot Dr. King then April 4th, 1968. You think you better than him? And that's been the ghoul hanging over the heads of all the communities since 1968. They know if they'll snipe Dr. King, a nigga better not raise his head up and say nothing. Show me one of them niggas out there in North Memphis, South Memphis, or East Memphis that you can raise up high as Dr. King. I don't give a goddamn how he went. Show me one of them. But they sniped him just like he was dung. And he hit the murder and all that kept right on going. And Negroes again got the audacity to go against themselves with an all-out assault already been talking. I mean, if they've been paying attention. Then they got there and said that they didn't want the National Guard there. We understand the threat of the martial law. So I can understand why you wouldn't want that. But if you at a rate where you at the city with the highest number of people of color in the nation, and they are out there killing each other at an alarming rate, knowing that they're cowards, just misinformed with these guns. So you know they're going to put the guns up when the people come. And the ones who know that they're looking for them, where Amy Wyrick wasn't looking for them at all. Because they was on her hit list. Amy Wyrick wanted your ass gone. She was the controller of the gangs. Who you think was over the gangs? Amy Wyrick. That's why the gang problem was so bad. That's why they was shooting in the day like they did over there at Booker T. Washington, kill them kids like that in the daytime. From residuals of Amy Wyrick. Like they're in the national level, we're hearing all this what Donald Trump is doing on this economy. Well, we forgot that the Democrats with Mr. Biden there had the rubber stamp going and they had almost collapsed us. But y'all act like y'all forgot about that. Now that political shit has got too serious because we at the close of a world and you all still politicking. And motherfuckers really dying all around now. So I'm going to finish this brief, man. Y'all act like this shit just popped off what's going on with our economy. All these trillions of dollars. This ain't just happened today. Again, like that prime equity clause I spoke about in the video Ms. Wyrick didn't let come up. Shador made more money than any rookie in the NFL. And it's a 5th round draft pick because his dad hadn't been rubbing shoulders with Marshall Faulk. Marshall Faulk had invested a good deal of his time after his Hall of Fame in the NFL into financial literacy. So he hand-fed the game, obviously, to Deion. To the extent for his appreciation for Deion giving him an opportunity to coach on the major level. And Deion hand-fed that game, immediately went to implemented it with his son. So now his son make more money on that name, image, and likeness in the NFL than people do who actually blood, sweat, and tears. Like I heard Joe Thomas. He complaining that they just making a mockery of the Pro Bowl now. It's this. Well, they ain't even dressing in pants no more. So you know that's what you saying. Everybody know that. So when no motherfucker coming to the Pro Bowl to see Joe Thomas, and ain't nobody blocking and really doing that no way. So they coming to see the most popular one in the NFL. That's just like Michael Jordan. When he went and played baseball, he couldn't. They say he hit 1 home run out of 1,000 bets. And that's not baseball hard like golf. Anyway, but the stands was packed everywhere Michael Jordan was because they have the it factor. Michael Jordan showed up and endorsed Shador, Gatorade, Nike. But we got you dumbasses who ain't never did nothing in your life but armchair coached. And you done figured the whole game out. Now the whole thing, some of y'all in the NFL now and supposedly the best in the business, and you complaining that this man in the Pro Bowl, and watch all the cameras come out now. Watch all the stars come out. All the rappers and all the everybody. So I digress on that. An amicus brief attached as an exhibit to a motion for leave to file must be submitted no later than 3 days after the filing of the principal brief by the party that the amicus brief supports. If the amicus brief supports neither party, it must be submitted no later than 3 days after the filing of the principal brief by the party opposing the motion. An amicus brief must be no more than 20 pages unless leave of the court is obtained to exceed that number of pages. As a general matter, the court will look favorably upon a request by any party to respond to an amicus brief in writing. And of course, any party may respond to any amicus brief at oral argument. It is so ordered this 21st day of March 2023. Lee P. Radofsky, United States District Judge. So, Miss Wiley, she kidnapped me and took me over into a jail in Pine Bluff, Arkansas, and by the grace of God, she sent another guy. He had to hit the police in Pine Bluff, and he came in the cell, and all the time Miss Wiley just knew he was going to cut my head to the fat, and I was going to be in there screaming and crying, I guess, and they would have to send me with the mentally ill and the punks now. But when he hit me by the grace of God, I was able to slip his little right hand blow, and I was able to get up, and the strength of God must have entered me, because he came up off the floor in retrospect, and he was down on his back. I had him down on his back, and I was standing over the top of him, and then I raised him back up off the ground, and I was trying to get him where I can line him up and hit him, but I guess he knew what I was trying to do, so he was trying to not get hit in retrospect. So I was able to get him in that, how we get somebody's arms up behind the head, and I had my hand behind his head. They had this wall in the cell. So I was trying to slam his head down on the wall. All the time, Lieutenant and them trying to get in the cell. So once I seen he was kind of stopping me from slamming his head, some kind of way I had just this one hand holding his two arms up behind his head. And I had this right hand, it was free. And I hit him with 2 or 3 death blows coming back at him like you see me right here. And when I looked up the lieutenant, I was finna hit him again. He hadn't got down on the floor now. But I'm finna raise him up and hit him again. And I looked up, the lieutenant was right in my face like I'm in this camera. And he was doing like this. This was the man who was letting me call my wife, and Miss Wife had me isolated where I couldn't even get to the phone. And when I looked up and he did that, the average person, not even one who's subject to mental illness, they can't stop fighting right there in the middle because their adrenaline is going. They in the fight or flight, adrenaline craze, almost like a possession, if you will. But I stopped when he shook his head at me. And I guess that was caught on camera, and he saw that, hey man, ain't no crazy motherfucker stopping like that. So before I went back in the cell, somebody else must have been watching them cameras who was over him, because I was moved out of that cell. After I got out of the shower, I went into a cell. Now it was a 2-man cell, but it was 5 people in it, with me and this white guy coming in. The white guy had been upstairs already, and he had been up there smoking this shit they smoking, caused him to flop out in the floor. Anyway, so as soon as I come in the door, this brother was laying in the floor. He hadn't been there for about 6 months, so he had his law work and different shit out in the floor. So he had a 1983 civil rights lawsuit. He said he was suing him. So I said, man, you got an extra one? So he had an extra one. And before I left the county that I'm presently in, I was trying to get an affidavit. So the lady at the jail who was trying to help Amy Wyrigan, making like I was mentally ill, they didn't book me into their county jail this time. They couldn't risk somebody was penalized for that last 9/2/2024 kidnapping. Somebody got in trouble because Miss Wyrigan they had got me out of Memphis. And they had grabbed me right there when I was going in a room that me and baby had established residence in again. And had sent a police to block us in the room. And the police, before they faked us out like he was taking our identities down to his car all the time, his wire controlling his screen. So I see my brother's name in there. I ain't my brother. All the time his wire been stealing my identity. She stole me for $5 million, I'm telling you. Stole me for $1.9 million along with Beth Krause, Tina McGovern, Nalzinger, Krause, Sandy Myro of Empire Education Group. Stole me and baby for that money. She stole us for all the Tennessee Human Rights Commission monies. They supposed to repair me and put me back to work after 5/7/2016. But Regis Salons that was stolen on Kensal Way retaliated on me, seized 1,800 in commission monies I had knocked up on. The manager quit. She walked out the door. She said they was trying to, Miss Wyrick had been pushing that I was a rapist for years to steal my life. Her and my sister Venus Britton. I ain't raped shit. I ain't had to rape. But she let the rapist go, who she catch raping. And take the rape kits and remove them out the city. Well, you can't even find out who done the rape. And this is who has been targeting my life. But my guys out in North Memphis, the hard-hearted people who God allowed me to be around, who by the grace of God, I'm still in the game, won't send a half, knowing I've been fighting against a motherfucker who done took a lot of their people's lives who they know about. And sat there and looked at me fighting this bitch, and I want to say, try to line me up for the bitch. So I'm going to get out of here, man. You guys be blessed. But you see, LeBron is a fighter. I could have saved my community. I could have saved North Memphis. I could have saved North Memphis. So when I get my bankroll, you think I'm going to be coming to stay in North Memphis? That used to be what the people would do. How y'all think they built up and got the Black Wall Street? Common man of color, had some integrity right there in the neighborhood and thought to build up for themselves in the neighborhood instead of going and making all the other nationalities rich. Like we got the Arabs and the Africans right there at the Hollywood and Chelsea getting our money right there. Then Lily, you walk out of Lily's place, you got that chicken shit Arab motherfucker right there. He right there cooking them sour ass burgers with the rats and shit running over in his place. Giving you the food. But where, now I see my guy Charles was able to muscle up and get him a restaurant. I see my guy Stanley Ward need a little push. And we need to pool our resources and get them motherfuckers out of the neighborhood, and we can start having that money. And we can start building up communities where our Cypress will still be up and going in Northside and Shannon. If we were about our business out there talking about we ballers and shit. If we had the right mindset. Like Steve Watson, God rest his soul. I remember in Northside, Steve had went over into it. He was doing that Thriller. All the girls. Steve knocked down a lot of girls. I used to want to knock them girls down now. Being honest. My wife, she's sitting here and I'm going to be my goddamn self. Because see, when I get over in the grave, it's going to be me. So you in this world we live in, you have a lot of times you be dealing with people, man, and they sometimes, man, in our lives, people, your mothers and different ones, you would think your life was theirs. They done did all the goddamn shit they can do. Now they got all this shit they coming at you about. Won't let you be. So I deviate on that. Anyway, man, I've been fighting up against some treachery, man. I remember one night I was sprung many years ago. That's when 7-Eleven was still at Hollywood and Chelsea. I had been in them 7-Elevens walking out with that beer, from Hollywood and Chelsea. They had one at Jackson in Hollywood. I would told them through that. I would go through that junkyard, getting over there to Tupelo. And that was my hustle. I was poor, and I hadn't got sprung. All the ones who end up sprung a lot of times started off trying to sell. But chemical dependency, and we don't know nothing about no targeting of no communities back then. We thinking, oh, this is the new shit going. Not knowing this was targeting to destroy you. This was a genocidal drug. Even though it's looked in this little package and the name on it is called crack, which sounds like it's something that's not too devastating, but it was. It is. At any rate, I can get long when I'm finna get off here, man. So, I've been up against Amy Wyrick, man. But at any rate, that night I was coming through, I had to come down through right there by the 7-Eleven, but I was walking on that side street trying to make my way right there. What's that street right there where Tommy got the tie shop for years right there where Miss what's her name, brother worked at the tie shop where Charles had the house that burnt down. That's Oak Street. Right. So, you know, I bobbed and weaved. I had to come off Oak. I'm trying to duck down through there and get back over to down through in Hollywood. That church still had that gate up behind it right there where you can come through that field right there where my guy Sam used to live a house or two over from that church that had the gate up behind it. Sam lived on Hunter. And I came through that pathway. You know, Beamer's them was down there. Beamer's them was right there on Marble. Down through there. Back in the day. I think they was getting down up there on Norman and all down through there back then. So I'm trying to get down through there. I'm trying to stay alive. I can feel that it was trying to close in on me all my life. So right when I get right there on Eldridge, and I'm trying to get through the field right there and get up past that church, a police put his hand on my shoulder. I just happened to holler and struck. But he didn't have no light on. And what was he trying to do? See how God has been with me all these years, protecting me. He was going to take me and kill me. These things happen in our world. But by the grace of God, I'm still here. We were in Oklahoma City. My wife was just referencing. I showed enough in the close this thing. But I looked up. I seen this same white guy that I saw the last time I played golf over at Pine Hill. I'm playing my 18 holes. They done redid the golf course. I get about on my 7th hole. They've been harassing me at every hole damn near. Black people and everything. I'm just playing golf by myself. By the 7th hole where you got to go over the lake or go beside it. That's the 8th or 9th hole. That's the 9th hole where you either got to go over the lake or beside it. At the new Pine Hill. So I went for an over the lake shot with my hybrid. But in retrospect, as I've been watching McElroy and Ben Hogan and Tiger and them, my guy Mo Norman and them hit at that ball, I didn't really get all I could get into it, so it fell about 10 yards in the water. So I took and dropped the ball right there where I was at and hit it another shot, but I didn't try to go over the water. I hit it down beside. Then I went on to the hole. So I'm looking at the same white guy. Now he was in California at the apartment where me and baby went to get. He come out with the big giant Rottweiler. He got long hair and he got 2 applications. At Pine Hill, he's sitting on the golf cart, but he's following me. He right around where I'm at. Till I had to turn around and tell him, you motherfucker, you better not follow me. Right? That's the same guy was right there that night in Knoxville, Tennessee when they abducted me August 24th, 2017. He was walking with me. He told me to go in the store and get him a beer all the time. He's the same one when I came out the store, standing right there talking to the police. They act like they was picking him up and arresting him. All the time that was game to play me off. He act like he kicking the doors and everything. They let him out all the time. He working with Amy Wyrick. He travels to all over the country. These motherfuckers have got a nationwide. That's the same one. We was up in Tennessee, me and baby, and we went to raining real hard. They were stalking us real tough. And we was at a rest stop, and baby, when we in the bathroom, they trying to keep the signal up by us, so he outside the bathroom when we come out. So something made a sound, so my wife jumped. So he said something about a bat. Somebody had attacked my wife August 20th, 2017 in Westtown Mall parking lot. He was referencing that. So Miss Wyrick been sending her people right on top of us because she was a dominant figure in organized crime there in Tennessee. I'm not the only one know this. George Joe Brown know this. I'm not the only one know this. A lot of people know this. And Miss Wyrick, you're going to have to release my life. I was the one sent to take you racists down. You racists got so many bodies you done buried. So many lives you done destroyed. And still you go out in society like you all are reputable people. Diabolists. Malfeasance. But my mama, she used to tell me this all the time, but I can't see how these treacherous people who run the world has been able to do this and get away with it for so long. But she says, boy, if you do wrong, wrong gonna follow you. So I'm waiting for that wrong to catch up with Miss Wyrick and Mr. Kraft and these people who have subjugated the people of color, just like their brothers in all the other cities. Now to the extent to where we are on the verge of collapse due to the incompetence of the people, who again, when we were a little up from slavery or in slavery, sure enough, they better not caught you talking about you going to read a book. That's how Frederick Douglass got to safety, got to freedom. He was able to read. He got some papers from a free person and got a suit, and he played his way to safety. Reading is fundamental. If you can't read, what can you do but be a tool for the system, against your own family, friends, against yourself? So my mama didn't raise me. My mama just said, boy, I could have closed my leg and broke your motherfucking neck. But she didn't do that. She thought enough for me to go through all those labor pains, for me to come into the earth plane and to be productive. And to take on where she fell short, to pick up that and go on with some more. But somehow in our inner city, man, we failed to such an extent to where it's like somebody hit us in our heads and buried us in a shallow grave. Y'all be blessed. Peace.